All right, we just finished applying the house name. Let's start a sheet by sheet, just sort of an assessment and see what's going on. What are those last minute things that we need to tweak? Um, well, maybe not necessarily a last minute, but it's just a review. Okay, so let's just start a quick review here. I'm going to scroll down on my list and I'm going to open. I went too far. I'm looking at my families now. There we go. Let's collapse my families. And I'm going to look at my cover sheet. Okay, the items that are on my cover sheet. Do I have a pretty picture? Yes, I do. Do I have a sheet list? Yes, I do. However, let's take this sheet list and let's move it down here, the bottom corner. There's a reason for some of this, and I showed it to you in class. Those of you who have had any experience working with a set of drawings, if you ever pay attention, you don't want to crowd information or place information, if you don't have to, too far on the left side of the page. You want to keep everything on the right side of the page over here. That way, when you're navigating a large set of documents, you really only need to open it up halfway like this, and you can still get a really good idea of the information that's on the page. So that's why I'm taking everything on the page and I'm squishing it over to the right-hand side. Okay, so there's the cover sheet. Looks good. Site plan. Okay, I have a site plan. It's really the only data that's on here, but if you zoom in, since we added the topography after we placed the view on the sheet, it changed the size of the view a little bit, so my view title needs to be moved. So I'll highlight my view title, and I can just drag him so he's outside like that a little bit. There we go. Type ZA so I can zoom all. It's looking pretty good. Ground floor plan. Looking good. But you notice, I don't know if you guys remember, we went through and actually made a room finish schedule. We haven't put it anywhere. Well, we've got a spot right there. You know, let's use it. Let's make it a little more room. I'm going to push my floor plan up and to the right just a hair, which gives me a little more room for my ground floor room schedule rather. Click to place it. Zoom in. Now I don't want my my text to wrap here in this name column, so I'm going to grab a hold of my my column control, and I'm just going to drag him across like that. Zoom out a little, and then I'm going to drag my schedule to this bottom right-hand corner. It's just sort of an aesthetic thing. We're shoving everything over to the right-hand side, and I want my my plan and my ground floor plan and my second floor plan more or less in the same spot on the page, and I want my schedules between my ground floor and my second floor more or less on the same spot on the page, so that when I flip back and forth between sheets, my eyes don't have to scan to different parts of the sheet to see what it is that I'm looking for. Okay, A102, second floor plan. Looking pretty good. Let's select our second floor. I'm going to scooch him up a little, put him in the upper right corner. There we go. And just like we did with the ground floor, let's take the second floor room schedule, drag and drop, place him on the sheet, zoom in so that I have an eyeball I can actually see when I stretch this over. And if you can't tell, I'm going to undo that real quick. If you can't tell how much I'm stretching or how much I'm modifying that control, I'm basically moving this control over to this location, and I'm just shifting all those columns over that by doubling the width of one of them. So that's sort of the dimension that I'm going by, even though I can't snap to anything. There we go. Now I'm going to select that, drag him over into the corner, so he's more or less about in the same spot. All right. That's looking good. Exterior elevations, sheet 201. Okay. This is something that we really didn't kind of plan on, but you notice since we added our topography, that's sort of a three-dimensional element that's wider and larger than the views that we've created. So it's actually pretty easy to fix this. If I double-click and enter my view, it's just like entering a paper space viewport. I'll now come down to the bottom of the screen, and I'll turn on my crop view. This will allow me to crop my view regardless of the size of the three-dimensional elements that are in there. So I can make this smaller or bigger. but I need to see what that crop region looks like. So I click on Show Crop Region. And see, now I've got this big giant box here, and it's just like dealing with our interior elevations. It's just a matter of grabbing the grip and pulling things in and moving them around where you want to. And even though I'm just moving the crop region just above my title, and I'm going to pull this down a little bit because I don't want this view to be overhanging the sheet anywhere. Because remember, I don't know if you guys remember, if the view overhangs the sheet, it changes the size of the sheet as far as Revit's concerned, and it makes printing kind of a hassle. So there's ways to fix it. There's ways to get around it, but let's not go there if we don't have to. Okay, so I'm done with that, but I do want to zoom in. You see these section cuts? How they're all at different spots and it's all up and down. It's causing your eyes to have to go up and down on the page. I'm going to select each one of these views. I don't want to actually change the height of the section. I just want to change the height of the tag. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to pull them all up so they all line up, and they're all more or less in line with the top of the column grid. It's kind of a weird way of doing it. Some people like all the column grids to be above all the indicators. Some people like them below. In this case, I want them all in a line. Everyone has their own preference. So there we go. All of them are lined up. But if I select these, you can see the size of the actual section itself, which hasn't changed. If we go to the wall section page, it hasn't changed anywhere. I don't know why that's showing up. I don't think it should, because we may have to come back and readdress that, because there's some issues there that I think will make a little more sense once we get there. We'll have to fix that. I'm pretty sure we'll have to fix that. Double click to exit out of our view. Scroll or pan down. Double click to enter that view, and we're just going to go through the exact same exercise. We're going to turn on the ability to crop the view, and then we're going to turn on the crop region so that we can see what we're doing. Select the perimeter lines, and then we're just dragging this line around so that we can see, we can pull the extents of this view in closer to the building. There we go. Okay, and same thing as before, I want to zoom in and I want to correct these. I just want these to line up. Yes, because number 3 on sheet A311, that's the stair section. We shouldn't be seeing that section indicator on the back of the house. Same thing with this one. All right, I found a problem that we get to fix. Yay! Some of you might be having the same problem, and you would think you would think you would right click, select it, and then say, or is it hide in view and then hide elements? There's a different way of doing it that is actually the right and proper way of doing it in Revit. Okay, so we're done with that. Double click outside the view. There we go. Let's go down to sheet 202. Okay, same thing. You can see we've got our view titles. I'm going to actually select them both, use my arrow keys to pull them down just a hair. A little more. There we go. Double click to enter the view. Turn on the crop. Turn on the crop. The first one turns on the ability to crop. The second one actually shows you what you're doing. And just like interior elevations, I'm just stretching this so it actually shows me what I want to see. There we go. That one's done. Enter this one. Turn on crop view. Show crop region. Pull him in. Pull him down. And pull him up. Double click. There we go. Okay. I promise you we're going to get back to that error on 201, and we'll get to correcting that in just a moment. Sheet 211, interior elevations. It's pretty good. I think I like the way this looks. I think I want to tighten up the views just a little bit. They're kind of spread out. So I'm just going to select them all. And we're going to push them up a little bit into the upper right. I'm going to use my arrow keys, select these two, use my arrow keys to move those up. And then select the two of these and use my arrow keys to move these to the right. Now, it's one of those things that it might be hard to do. It's kind of hard to see. But here's my ground floor level. It's more or less in line with my second floor level. So again, when my eyes are scanning the documents, I can scan in a straight line. I don't have to see elevation, and then my eyes jump up and see another elevation up there. Same thing is happening down here, although it's not quite as good as I would like. I need to fix that because they don't line up. Drag. It's not going to give me an alignment guide, is it? Oh, there it is. It just disappeared. There it is. Boom. There we go. Now they're aligned. And now I select that. I should get a snap there. There it is. There we go. Again, it's just an aesthetic thing. Our eyes are drawn to things that are in nice, straight, even lines, rows, and columns. There's a reason why Excel wasn't done on a hexagonal or looks like the Qbert screen. And you guys would have to figure that reference out. But if you saw, oh golly, the Adam Sandler movie where he's playing all the real life video games against the aliens, Qbert was in that, so you might know the reference. Okay, enough of that. Section 301, building sections. All right, is looking good. Is looking very good. Even though we've got a lot of white space right here, it's not necessary to pull this over to the right-hand side. I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah, it looks good. Okay. And the last one, 311. Yep, looks pretty good, but remember we had to add some width to this section here. So we've got a little bit of overlap between these views. I'm just going to use my arrow keys, shift a few things around just for some readability. That's not bad at all. That'll do. Okay. Technically speaking, this is the final review. There are a few technical issues that we need to address. We'll take care of that on Tuesday. The first of which is if we zoom in on this view, you'll notice that if this is my ground line that starts 6 inches below the finished floor, well, this is a 4-inch slab, so that's basically the house is floating on 2 inches of air. I promise you we will fix this, but we'll do that on Tuesday. The last little thing we need to fix has to do with our elevations, and it's going to be our north and our south elevations, but strange as it sounds, we need to fix that from the ground floor plan. So here I am on the ground floor. Well, I could do it on the second floor as well. I'm going to highlight the arrow. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to select the arrow for this elevation. So this is the line that defines my elevation. I'm going to scroll down on my object properties. There it is. Far clipping says no clip. I'm not sure that's the right one. Nope, that's not it. Scope box associated datum. There's supposed to be one here that says depth of field, because it doesn't need to be everywhere, see everything. Come on. I know you're here. I've seen you only 8 several thousand times. Fine. It's going to give me grief. But that's okay. That's okay. I'll take care of it. We'll just go back to our north elevation. So on our north elevation, the only sections that we really care about is this building elevation and this wall elevation. I don't want to see this elevation, or do I? Make sure I'm thinking the way that I'm thinking. Yes. Because if I zoom in, this is detail number 1. That's the section through the brick wall. I don't want to see this on the back side because I'm not on this view, I'm not cutting through I'm not cutting through brick on this side of the house. So select it, right click, hide in view, and of course, that's in the way. Pull them out of the way. Hide in view, elements. Not category, just elements. So just that one thing, we made it go away. We need to do the same thing for our stair section indicator on the north elevation. Select it, right click, hide in view, elements. There we go. Now we go to our south elevation. We zoom in. We care about the building section. We care about the stair section. We care about the section through the brick. Number 2 on sheet A311 is the section through the metal panel wall. That's not this wall. That's on the other side of the house. So I select this section, right click, hide in view, elements. There we go. Those are those couple little things that we needed to fix right there. All right, everyone. We are caught up. Everything is caught up with everything that I'm really caring about needing to show on this project. There's a little bit of modeling that we need to do on Tuesday. I'll show you guys how to print, or actually I'll show you guys how to make PDFs. You then go print them out and hand them into me, and then we're all good. So theoretically, Tuesday should be a short day. So you guys have a great weekend. I think if you haven't already filled out the evaluation for me, please do so. You know, if you guys want me to come back again, you got to let administration know that you like having me as a teacher. If you think I'm absolutely horrible and never want to see me again, you got to let them know that too. So you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday.